All right, cool. Welcome to week 10 of Saturday Nerd Chats. This week we got Jay over here and Melissa. Jay, do you want to start? How did you get into IT and pretty much what are you doing now? Like, what was your journey into getting to doing what you're doing now? We got
I'm
time, so go
okay.
for it.
I mean, it depends on what you define as IT, I guess. When I was really young, I helped my mom set up like her work computer and her network and stuff. That was probably when I was 14 for her medical office. But even before that, I guess I normally just go with when I was 11, I made my first website, and then around the same time, I made my first or my own RuneScape private server and ran it off my home computer. And so that required a little coding and networking and stuff like that. So I guess I usually attribute that to it. But if you're talking about classically, it would probably be when I got my associate's degree.
Okay, no, I would say anything because I know like way back in the day, I used to modify Xboxes pretty much like flashing the firmware on the DVD drive so you could play like modded games or burned games. So yeah, just whatever got you into it, you know?
Yeah, so definitely was that Halo 1 on the PC and RuneScape.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah, that's out of my zone. Never played a video game.
Wow.
But look at you with your gaming chair and your
Yeah,
padded.
this is not this is not me. This is not my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she games. I don't think.
So that was the route that you took. You ended up taking the college route.
Yeah. So I mean, at the time, I was at the lowest point in my life. I just got excommunicated from my family. So I at 18, so I moved to Ohio. And basically, I worked at a dead end job for a few months, and it didn't take me very long to realize that I needed to go to college.
What kind of job was that?
I worked at a factory that did electro discharge magnet machines, basically. I was a button pusher.
Okay.
So this was 10 years ago. Um, and so it took me not that long to realize I needed to go to college. And then it was kind of a little bit of, exploring myself, a little bit of a choice. But basically, something just clicked in me, and I realized I had an epiphany that I'm meant to be on this planet to do something with cybersecurity to benefit the world in some way. And then it was pretty fast from there. Within 2 years, I had my associate's degree, and within a year later, I had my bachelor's and so forth.
That's cool, man. Yeah, I remember you talking about like you found what you were placed here on Earth to do in that Swiping Sunday podcast, and I totally clicked with that because I felt the same way For me, it was the book, The Art of Invisibility by Kevin Mitnick. Once I got through that book, I knew that this is what I wanted to do, and I've just been trying to dive in as much as I can ever since.
Yeah, how's that lab doing behind you?
Oh yeah, that's another story.
That's awesome. So Jay, like what? So you have you have a bachelor's, right?
Sure.
And have you gotten any certs aside from the bachelor's?
I got a Security Plus less than a month after I got my associate's degree.
Mm-hmm.
But no, beyond that, no, I haven't.
Cool.
I haven't gotten any more.
So are you just intrigued by just cybersecurity certifications, or you want to get any other certs from any other vendor? Or do you work with any other vendor? Like, do you do VMware, cloud stuff, or any whatever?
I mean, I have to poke around at basically everything. But no, I don't zero in on one vendor, and I definitely do. I would like to get my CSS, or I will get my CISSP for sure. Hopefully within this next year, because it's actually a lot more than I expected, and I forgot a lot of the base that the Security Plus gave to me. 3 or 4 years ago now. But it's just where I work, and depending on what type of firm you want to work at, certs aren't always the best thing. There's really nothing that's like the best thing, but for example, my first job, like my boss gave zero shits about college degrees or certification. So it was like a little, unmotivating to get them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I can agree to a certain extent, right? Because obviously I can't say I don't agree because look behind my name, but
he is the cert master.
like I think it's good to have a certification. because it shows you a bowl of knowledge of a certain technology, right?
Right.
That's all it is. It's saying that you can hone in on one specific, you know, like I have CCIE, right? Routing switching. So that says, okay, I understand BGP, routing, ISIS, MPLS, understanding how networks traverse, etc. But like, if you have someone that says, I know all that, sometimes it can get in the gray area because, you know, at least that certification can explain that the knowledge that's given at exam, you pass that exam, so you should have a certain knowledge instead of saying, oh, like, because I have friends that bluff their resume or spice it up and you know put things on there that, you know, like anything, if you query anything on my resume, if you put SQL, I don't have SQL on that thing. Can I do an SQL injection with SQL? Yeah, I can do some stuff, but I'm not a guy. You know?
Are you telling me that I could spice up my resume with stuff I don't really know?
Yeah, like your whole CCNA lab back there.
Trust me, that's not on my resume.
So, but like anything, because if I have your resume in front of you, and I'm one of those, I'm gonna try to keep it PG so it doesn't get demonetized, but like one of those people that will question that resume, and I like to nitpick. I want in better terms, right? Because I'd like to prove people wrong in a weird way, right? Like I like to test people's knowledge in a sense. Like if you say you have this thing on your resume and you can't back it up, I'll make you look like a fool. And I'd like the feeling to make you look like a fool. If that makes sense. So like when I was doing interviews and people have like, you know, for network engineering positions, that's where my forte, like in systems and stuff. So someone says they have Active Directory experience, right? You know what Active Directory is, right?
Sure.
So what is Active Directory? And in your sense, what is it? A centralized database that houses objects? Is that what you would say?
I mean, a little more extensive than that, but I get where you're going with this.
Yeah, so like these, you know, like these kind of people say, oh, it's that. Okay,
right.
ADSI edit. What is ADSI edit? You know, what is this directory? I'm not asking, but I'm saying like someone says they know Active Directory, you should understand what Active Directory is. Like, you know what layer 3 switching is. Okay, what is the inter-VLAN route between you know, a layer 3 device or an actual router?
Right.
You know, stuff like that, and you'll be surprised. People just like probably Google, you know, network engineering resumes, and they copy and paste all these acronyms and VXLAN, BGP, EIGRP, OSPF, blah 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 blah, and they don't even know, you know, what's the distant vector of OSPF.
Right. Yeah, I find that, you know, like the defensive and the dev stuff for the blue team and the red, they all kind of intermingle. You know, like I did a lot of digital forensics, and I use that for anti-forensics later on offensively. And like, I mean, it's the same thing. If you like, you know, to set up your own Windows Forest and configure AD and all that stuff, like that's like, you know, you don't need that per se to attack a Windows Forest, but you're not going to understand what you're doing at a medium or high level. You know,
if you're running like AD Recon, these kind of utilities, and you don't understand what, you know, your forest.com was, you know, how the, you know, what you're really looking at for these tools. It's like, whoa, how do I even, what does the syntax even mean?
Right.
AD Forest.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, that's it's super important. People don't realize that, especially in the cyber world. Like, how can you hack something and, you know, something works? You know?
Yeah, but I definitely struggle with that still. I focus on web app pen test.
I don't know anything about it. I'm just getting into that now.
Well, it's the same concept where it's like, you know, so many third-party vendors, so many technologies, so many frameworks, you know what I mean? And like, I could spend 8 hours just looking at the demo of some third-party framework that I have to test now, and I don't have the time to go through and like, you know, create a web app using that framework. I just have to like look at what I can and use what I know and hope for the best.
Yeah, exactly. Winging it. Yeah, and the same thing, like it's funny because now I implemented a WAF and all this stuff where I'm working now, and it's like sometimes it's like I'm looking at these WAF logs, and it's like sometimes Chinese, you know, ASP. And I'm like, what? All right, I'll look at this, but I don't really know what the fuck I'm looking at because I'm not a developer, you know. So I can understand the struggle, and I have the struggle now. Like this is probably the first time in my career that I'm like, you know what I mean? Like I'm researching shit like, on the daily, like doing this, asking people like, what is, I'm not a web app.
Yeah.
So this is getting nitty gritty. Now I have like, OWASP set up and, all the
Okay.
hub VMs that I have to try to learn how to do
Okay.
pen testing, watching the walkthroughs and understanding the little nitty gritties of these things. And and it's all Chinese still because, but it's cool. It's a learning curve.
Yeah. I mean, web apps are a really extensive field. I mean, all of them are, right? You could like spend your career just learning web app pen testing, really. It's constantly changing. But I also found that like, college degrees and certs like the OSCP, like they're all really good, but they're usually a little bit out of date. And more importantly, like in the real world, like the pen tests are normally a lot easier. Like,
oh yeah. Yeah. And it's
usually a default password than like some crazy 0 day or something.
Yeah. Like when I did the OSCP, now with the new OSCP, you have AD recons and you have a lot of
nice.
And it's a lot better now from the syllabus than when I did it. And I just only did it in October last year.
Wow. Okay.
And it was hard. Like buffer overflows. I don't do this shit. I don't do this stuff all the time. Like doing all these little nitty gritty things. It's like, let's do like a real world thing. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And your thing. Let me watch your pinholes and write you a report. And internal guy, go fix your stuff.
Yeah.
Like the real world stuff. It's not like you're sitting there behind a freaking computer, like hacking all day. Like people think this whole thing is a totally different image than it really is. Unless you're like, crazy pants D over there.
Yeah, but like Food to Roots really helps make the community or make people, especially getting into it, think that it's just like a puzzle in a game. You know what I mean? I think that's like a really hard thin line that's crossed a lot because, it's like, oh, well, let's put this on some weird port on port 666 and make it talk about the devil. And then you have to look up a quote on Google to find the next flag, and it's just like I get the point of it, but like making it too complex and like a puzzle isn't super realistic or applicable. So like, I found like I spent, I don't know, 10 years, messing around with hacking and stuff in a gray hat area or, just personally. And then when I got my my first job in the industry, within 3 or 4 months, I learned more than I did in the 10 years, that I did by myself, just because I know it's all applicable and I see it firsthand.
Totally.
And it's always that hands-on work that's really what's going to get you to learn. Because I've been, like, I got my A+, Network Plus, Security Plus, and it's all just been studying for exams. Right now I'm studying AWS, but like unless I'm actually, and not even doing hands-on labbing, but like actually trying to do something with what I've learned, it never sticks, ever.
Yeah.
And that's like the only way. And that's what's been cool about some of the stuff like that Dean's been doing, you guys have been doing, to be able to like be a part of it and actually try it out. It's the only way you're going to learn.
Yeah, it's fun. Like the other day, because we're going from ASA, we have some ASA 5525s to we're getting FTDs, so firewall threat defense devices from Cisco. And just the other day, it was funny because, I'm at a CCIE level in routing and switching, right? And I have CCNP for security. And then I'm like, I was just trying to see if you do anything with the actual firewalls, but I was just trying to like doing internal extended ACL, right? I couldn't remember the syntax. Didn't remember. I was like, what the hell is the syntax? And I just did like show run pipe and then section ACL, and I just copied an ACL and just change the IPs. But I didn't remember the syntax. Like, okay, extended, you're inside, whatever, your inside IP, and then your external interface and blah, 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 EQ, whatever the port is. But it's like, if you don't use this every single day, if you're not typing this all day in the firewall or Windows box or whatever, like, you're not going to remember these things. It's super difficult to remember.
That's why Google is still your best friend.
Well, 1000%. I use that shit all day.
Yeah. Speaking of AWS, Melissa, what have you been up to?
I think you're on.
Oh, no, we can't hear you. Your headphones working?
Is that better?
Yeah.
It's a little bit better, yeah. Oh, no, now we can't hear you again. We probably should have worked out these technical difficulties in the beginning. No, we can't hear you.
Damn.
Try clicking your audio and resetting the. There you go.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you guys are you hearing
Yeah.
me?
Do you wanna start introducing yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Melissa. I think we last left off on the what am I up to, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I'll reintroduce. Yeah, so like awkward. I'm like, should I start all over or are you guys editing this?
No, you just honestly let's keep it organic wherever you want to start with. Like what made you want to get into what you're doing now anyway? What is it that you're doing?
Well, currently, I'm working on the Security Plus, just trying to knock that out. I
Isn't
think
there a new version of the Security Plus coming out? Anyone up to date on that?
I'm not sure.
Okay, go ahead.
CompTIA certain.
Yeah, I got my AWS cert last week, and this week I'm just gonna try to knock out the Security Plus, and
Was that Cloud Practitioner?
yeah,
Very cool.
cloud practitioner, and mm, yeah. So currently, pretty much just working on the certs. I haven't really been job hunting as much, but hopefully I can knock out the Security Plus in like a week or two. And
What are
then,
you using for your study material?
so currently I'm doing Mike Myers' Udemy class.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard good things about that one.
Yeah, he makes it pretty interesting. He makes it a lot better to grasp on.
Like entertaining. I didn't actually go through the course, but I saw some of his clips, and he seems pretty wild.
Yeah, I started the Network Plus last week also, but I heard that it's probably better to just start with the Security Plus because it's basically the Security Plus is basically an overall of the Network Plus. But
I don't think so.
no.
No,
The
yeah.
Network Plus is definitely if there's anything that I would skip, I would probably say the A plus if like you're good with hardware and stuff. And I mean that's just up to you because I did them in order: A plus, Network Plus, Security Plus. But the Network Plus definitely covers a lot of networking and mapping out and layouts and stuff like that. The Security Plus doesn't get into detail. It kind of uses the Network Plus as assumed knowledge. So if you start struggling, I would probably take a look at the Network Plus because they're in order for a reason.
Okay.
How is your networking skills?
I've done some networking at a previous job, but so I got the pretty much the basics of it.
Yeah, I had zero knowledge going into it, so there's no way I would have survived the Security Plus
Yeah.
without that one.
I
For
got
sure.
through a couple of the modules, and a lot of it was stuff I've been learning. A lot of even the Security Plus and network, it's all been what I've learned in my master's. So I think I can knock them out pretty quickly, but just got to find the time for it right now.
So what were you doing before you started studying for these certifications and stuff?
Well, I was working as a QA, doing a lot of manual testing and troubleshooting cable boxes and things like that. And then prior to that, I was an IT associate. I got to do like a little mobile Android application and played with some of the servers and where we were hosting our data and things like that.
Okay, so it's like fairly similar, still along the same lines.
Yeah, but yeah. So I guess a little bit of how I got into security. It just happened. It just happened out of nowhere. Sorry, can you hear my kid in the background?
No, we can't hear him.
Okay.
But I'll let you know if mine starts screaming too, so.
Okay. It's pretty loud. But yeah, how I got started in the security. It just happened out of nowhere. I was first wanting to be a doctor, then a pharmacist. Then I'm like, okay, no, I'll be a lawyer. So I got my
I know, I want to learn everything too.
yeah. So I ended up getting my bachelor's in criminal justice and biology and chemistry. But then I even got accepted into law school, was doing volunteering and stuff like that with lawyers. But then in the end, I just found this master's program about cybersecurity. So I was like, okay, fuck it, I'm just gonna go into that. So that's just kind of how I started.
So what's like the end goal, if you know? Because I know there's so many different paths and routes and places that you can go with this. It's not usually something set. But I remember you were talking about OSINT a little bit.
yeah, so I kind of want to do some of threat intelligence, maybe as a little bit on the side to really just help find missing people cases and things like that. So I'm looking into a couple of volunteering options for that. But the ultimate end goal, I think, would be mainly to stay in the tech field, not so much as I know some people will suggest going into governance and compliance, but I don't really see much interest in that.
That sucks.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be a boring job.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot now with that, like running PCI compliance stuff and all this governor. Oh my God, it's no bueno. Bueno. Boring. Like I hate documenting. Even like my whole career, I hated it. Everything was always in my head. Like every time, like, oh, what is the password for this client? I don't know. This is it. Why isn't it documented? I don't know, because it's in my head.
You're not much of a note taker.
No, I don't take now. Yeah, like now, but then I just probably started because now it's like okay, because I had the pain. There was someone like that when I was at C3, the cloud company. Like he left and like he was in charge of a certain amount of clients, and, like the passwords and everything. It's like he was in his head and he never documented it in Jira because we use an application called Jira, Confluence, and then like he was like we would have to call him all the time. He was not an a-hole or anything. He would give us the info, but it's like, I don't want to bother someone. And I'm like, this is a sign. You better start doing it so you don't have the next one up to be the a-hole. Yeah, so now I document and jot it down.
Yeah. Just going through, because I'm studying for my my solutions architect for AWS right now, and like I'm taking notes on all this stuff, but you gotta find a balance because I feel like I'm wasting half my life just like jotting notes down that I'm never actually going to look at anyway. So it's like, if I feel confident enough that I'm going to be able to remember this, then I just move on to the next one, because otherwise you end up like with one of these just completely full of stuff that you're never going to look at.
Like that, I
Ever.
do that. Like if I'm studying, I'll take notes. Like that I'm a note taker. But when it comes to like documenting like network topologies, I love to do that. I really enjoy, like with Visio or Smart Draw, something like that, putting the topologies together. I enjoy that. But you actually like do like these PCI things or HIPAA or SOX. Go Google it and just print it out and fucking fill it out. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'll just change the logo and steal someone else's documentation. But it's like, just use that and modify it. Like start it from scratch, and it's annoying. Like, I'm doing it right now, and it's a lot. It's a lot of information, but it's all good.
So Jay, what is it that you're doing now?
Oh.
We didn't even get into that.
I'm a security consultant, but my primary, duties are web app tests and mobile app tests.
Okay.
But then I'll do stuff from like external and phishing campaigns too once in a while. It's just 95% of my work is web apps and mobile apps.
So what do you do for your campaigning?
What's up?
For 10 minutes. For the campaigning, what do you use? Like No-B4 or something like that?
I mean, it depends. But no, it's really like GoFish, if you've heard of that.
Yeah.
I mean, some simple like that. But then I like to include stuff, and I'm trying to think of the name. I'll have to send it to you guys later. But it's basically it injects a payload into a Word document. So when you open the Word document, it prompts you to log in, kind of like you're at work. If you open that, and you can change the domain to say whatever you want. And when you type in the username and password, it sends it via SSL to my CNC or to the GoFish server.
Yeah.
To harvest passwords. But yeah, it's phishing campaigns. I did some phishing at my old job, but mostly just like GoFish. It's pretty simple stuff. Maybe a web portal will clone and throw it up there, but It's nothing too fancy.
Cool. What you, James?
Me?
The
Yeah, I
beast.
forgot what you asked.
Oh, like what am I up to? Or I forgot what I asked too, honestly.
You're asking what he been up to, and he was telling you.
Yeah, so what's GainSec? Because I realized that I have actually been following your Instagram page for a while now. So if you guys are interested in like some funny ass InfoSec memes or just some like all around good knowledge, you gotta follow Jay's page for sure. And we're gonna have like links to everyone's Instagrams and stuff in the description below. But yeah, what's GainSec?
So, I guess I was trained, or I teach myself in a way that I try to stay well-rounded in cybersecurity. But I have other passions such as like privacy, piracy, and law, especially, when it comes to cyber, especially, or just computers in general. And so where I was before, I was doing all sects of offensive security, all types of pen tests and vulnerability assessments and even red teams if we could do them. Whereas now I focus on web app and mobile stuff. So I found that like a lot of knowledge, a lot of stuff that I'm really interested in, I don't have an outlet for it. So that's why I created GameSec. And I guess obviously I'd like to give back and everything. But really like this iteration of it is it's just meant for me to like, get the wheel moving. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
No, I hear you.
I definitely don't put out the most quality content. I mean, I just don't put in the most effort into it. My idea is just kind of just to put it out there and be available, to be reached out to, or just be not a pillar in the community or something like that.
Yeah, no, and you definitely have made yourself available. Like to me personally, you helped me through a lot of the stuff that I've been looking up, provided me with a lot of links and resources. So yeah, thank you for that. Maybe this plug will give you more people asking for help. So just fair warning.
Yeah, I mean, I have had a bunch of people come to me. I'm the type of person that if I see your success as a reflection of mine, and I see like benefit of you being successful in this industry, not saying there's going to be a kickback, but who knows where the future will lead. So
Yeah.
I've gotten a few people, a few people I went to high school with. They now work where I used to work, so I got them into it, and I even got them hired. And I've had quite a few people come and go. You can see there's a bunch of people in my Slack that are pretty AFK because they gave up. But
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were there at one point.
Yeah. Yeah, but I find that so important is to give back because I mean, I don't know. When I joined this community, I had no idea like what I was gonna be like up against. And I was just like welcomed by all these people. Like before I even knew Pat, I remember he was like helping me. I was trying to set up like a hardware VPN or something. And like I was just like messaging him and he's like, oh, this is how to do it. And he was like, oh, screw it. And then he sent me like a voice message and he's like, oh, this isn't gonna work. And then he like called me right away and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like people really do want to help you over here, and if they're willing to help me, I got to be able to do the same. And that's like how this whole thing works. So it's a cool thing to be a part of.
Yeah, but the biggest thing I encounter is I could tell you, hey, you could hit me up anytime. I'll tell you if you're annoying me. I won't respond if I'm busy, and I'll respond when I can. Don't hesitate. And everyone still hesitates. Everyone still, oh, it's just a stupid question. And I feel like that's just part of the industry, But I always
You got to be willing to throw yourself out there and look stupid is what I've found. It's the only way.
And you're
I
gonna
think
be
people don't.
stupid in this field forever. So
What's that?
you're gonna be stupid in this field.
Yeah, right. Because there's too much to learn. So.
And if you think as a stupid person, I think that's better because then you want to learn more, right? If you think think stupid, then that's when you're gonna absorb more like a sponge.
Yeah, dude, my daughter just the other day, she was just telling me, yeah, I know everything. I'm like, girl, if you know everything, you're not going to learn anything. So you better stop saying that because it's not going to work.
How old is she now?
She's 4.5.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Valentino will be 5 next week.
She probably knows everything too.
Yeah. Yeah, they're funny. Kids are funny.
Yeah. Okay, we got 4 minutes left. Where are we going with this, guys?
You want me to tell you about the hospital?
Yeah, that would be a great one.
I've told the story so many times now, but
Well,
So,
now you can give us a quick little 3.5 minute version.
okay. So where I was previously, we were hired for a engagement for a hospital on the East Coast, a major hospital, a major city in the East Coast. And it was two parts. There was a phishing campaign part of it, and there was a physical part of it. But the physical part was like, a 3 out of 10 on the malicious scale. So basically, they wanted to see what could Joe Schmo do if someone walks in off the street. What can they get access to in the hospital? So it's me and my old coworker. We walk in. All I'm wearing are jeans, a button up like this, and I have a blank clipboard and a blank badge, no picture or anything, just a white card. And obviously we got to all the floors that are public. It's a hospital, so there's people coming and going. We sat in the elevator once, stood there and waited for someone to call us to one of the restricted floors. And so basically we got everywhere except the basement and the executive floor, which was the highest floor. And you needed a swipe card to get to either of those. And so, I don't know, it's been 30 minutes, 40 minutes. We've been walking around. We've been, going into every room, looking at people's computers for passwords on Post-its, or, we were supposed to get access to the patient records. So we went to where the patients are checked in, and I heard a woman around the corner talking, and it turns out the lady of the patient check-in desk was around the corner talking to someone. So my coworker just walked past the desk and went into the server room and took a picture of him, like with the USB stick and plug it in. I mean, we didn't plug it in, but just to prove we had access. We got access to lab coat or doctor coats, the roof. And so all we have is the basement and the executive floor left. We're like, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna do this? So we get in the elevator again, we wait, and it just so happens the maintenance calls it to the basement. And so the elevator goes to the basement, opens, maintenance guys see us. So we're just like, hey, how you doing? Walk past them. And now we're in the basement, access to the boiler. I mean, we could have done some serious damage. It was pretty crazy. But the funniest thing one of the funniest things that happened on that engagement was we got back in the elevator. We needed to get to the executive floor. And we were like, all right, we'll just pretend to talk when someone opens it. And then when they say, oh, hey, there's no button push, can you bring us up? So that's what we did. So we waited. Another maintenance guy opens the elevator, and we're like, hey, he's like, hey, you guys forgot to hit a button. And I said, oh, can you just swipe 8 maybe for me? And he's like, oh yeah, no problem. Swipes it and sends me on my way. So I mean, that was really interesting. And the only person that was ever suspicious on that engagement was one doctor, definitely, I think from China, I think, because he has a bunch of Post-it notes, so we couldn't read it. But we were in his office, and he came back and he said, whoa, what are you guys doing in my office? And we were like, oh, we're doing a PCI audit. Do you have any more computers in here, like in a desk or in a closet or something? No. Okay, fine. So we left. But the really interesting part was, out of the whole hospital, that was the only guy who said something. And this hospital had an armed security guard, by the way. But this was the only person who said something. But when we did our phishing campaign, that same doctor submitted 5 or 6 of his passwords in that Word document I was talking about. So I found that psychology really interesting, that, physically he was like, what are you doing? But when it came to his internet hygiene, it was, non-existent.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think we have,
It is.
so we have to probably wrap it up. So that was an awesome story, Jay. Thanks for sharing. And if we get logged out, thanks again.
Yeah,
Okay, Pat, you want to wrap this one up, since I seem to be the one that have done it in the last few weeks. Gave it to Dion last week, so.
Yeah, guys, thank you again. We'll see you when we see you, maybe next weekend. I think the following weekend I'm not gonna be able to come on because it's my daughter's birthday, so I think I'm
nice.
For I think it's a 3-day weekend. So yeah, so whenever we see you guys, just thanks again, and we'll be chatting in the chat.